Could Kasparas Jakucionis be a good fit for the Chicago Bulls? I think he might.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one, welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily. That's right, every single day of the Illini. None of this information costs you anything. The only thing I ask for in return is if you can hit that like button and make sure you're just subscribed to the channel and, send it to any other fans of the Illini that you think might be interested. Today's episode is going to be an interesting one, just because now that the NBA draft lottery was set last night, for those of you not in the know, Cooper Flagg apparently is going to be going to the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks, I believe, had a 1.8% chance of getting the number one pick. And despite those odds, they were able to get the number one pick. And it looks like they've been handed the Luka Doncic replacement in a silver platter. If there's anything you've learned from this, it's trade your superstar to the Los Angeles Lakers, and you will be rewarded by the NBA. It happened in the past when New Orleans, I believe, traded Anthony Davis to the Lakers. Right afterwards, New Orleans got the number one pick. And now, again, Dallas trades Luka to the Lakers, and now Dallas somehow gets the number one pick in the NBA draft. So if Dallas gets the number one pick in the NBA draft, that means the Chicago Bulls did it. And as a Bulls fan, of course, there's a little hint of disappointment there. I did, for a fleeting moment at least, envision buying my son a Cooper Flagg jersey in the red and white, but it didn't happen, and so we just have to deal with the current situation, right? And so my first memories as a sports fan were of Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, and so they've always held kind of a special place in my heart. And so immediately when the draft lottery came out, of course, my main focus is always going to be on Kasparas and Will Riley and trying to figure out what could be good potential fits for them. And as I was perusing some of the different mock drafts that have slowly started trickling out, there's a name for the Chicago Bulls at number 12 that popped up more than once or twice. And that is, Kasparas Jakucionis. And it came to the point where I felt like, okay, would he be a fit on the Chicago Bulls team? And the answer, honestly, might surprise you. It's hard to describe the Bulls situation right now. I mean, they're going for it, but they obviously don't have the pieces to win a championship. They're rebuilding, but the young players that they have on the team are kind of too good to get a high draft pick, as you can see, landing with the number 12 pick in this upcoming NBA draft. It's a team that's just kind of stuck in mediocrity, and it's something that frustrates the fan base. The only people satisfied with that seems to be the ownership. So today, I just kind of wanted to talk about, if you're the Chicago Bulls sitting at pick number 12, do you at least have to ask the question, would Kasparas Jakucionis be a smart fit for this quasi-rebuild? Now, I do expect Kasparas to end up going the top 10 in the NBA draft, but you never know what might happen. And with the Bulls sitting at number 12, there are scenarios out there where he might drop and be an option for Chicago. So I kind of want to address whether I thought that would be a good fit. Let's just start with the Bulls. They're not exactly retooling. They're not exactly going for it. They're just kind of stuck in play in purgatory. Last year, they traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. They sent DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine is in Sacramento now. And now the focus is more on youth development and upside swings. Obviously, I think they had a home run with a guy like Matas Buzelis. Giddey and Kobe are very solid, at the very least, NBA players and probably the core of the team moving forward. So when the Bulls are on the clock at number 12, I'm not sure if they're just looking for a safe plug-and-play veteran. They might be looking for more of an upside play that kind of fits the long-term view. And that's kind of where Kasparas Jakucionis comes into the picture. Look, Kasparas brings a lot to the table. He's a very high IQ playmaker. He's very comfortable running an offense. He can push the pace when need be. He sees the floor better than most guards his age, and he's a very unselfish player and tries to keep his teammates involved. Sometimes it's argued that he could be too unselfish. And for a Bulls team that's going to be leaning heavily on Matis's athleticism and Giddy's versatility, having another cerebral guard to organize the offense kind of makes sense to me. And the Bulls aren't desperate for Kasparas to be a high volume scorer right away. When you have guys like Giddy, Kobe White already on the roster, KJ can kind of just ease into his role, share those playmaking duties, and just kind of focus on himself and growing his game. When it comes to a basketball fit, it kind of sort of makes sense. And of course, here's the Illini connection that the Bulls fans already know. Ayo Dosunmu. He was drafted by Chicago, a second-round pick, the local hero from Morgan Park and Illinois. And what happened? Ayo became one of the Bulls' best draft picks in recent memory. He's, as a second-rounder, signed a very lucrative second contract. He's carved out a very valuable role as a two-way guard, and for the most part, he's beloved by this fan base. The Bulls took a shot on an Illinois player who fit their culture, who understood the work, and it paid off. And maybe this management staff with the Chicago Bulls already trusts that they know that products coming out of Illinois are a refined product, the type of product that'll fit well into the Bulls culture. And now look, Kasparas isn't a hometown kid like Ayo, but the Illinois to Chicago pipeline is already established. Bulls fans know the Illini brand. They respect it. If the Bulls hit on Ayo, why not double down with another Illini guard who brings a completely different but complementary skill set? Look, Ayo is a defensive bulldog. Kasparas is a playmaking orchestrator. Different flavors, same work ethic. That's a sellable narrative. And let's be honest, Kasparas isn't ready to run an NBA offense on day one. His shooting still needs to get a little more consistent. His defense, especially his lateral quickness, still a work in progress. And I think once he gets to the league, I think he's going to realize, and everyone's going to realize, that it's going to take some time for him to adjust to the NBA speed and physicality. But the Bulls are kind of playing a long game right now. I mean, they're kind of sort of just stuck in winning 40, 45 games every single year while they try to build a foundation. This is kind of the environment where a player like Kasparas can get real minutes, the freedom to make mistakes, and a developmental path aligned with a growth curve. The Bulls are serious about building something sustainable. You need smart, unselfish players who can evolve with your young core, and that's KJ to a T. Let's address some shortcomings. The defense, of course. Kasparas has his flaws. He's not an elite athlete. His lateral movement is shaky against quicker guards, and his engagement on defense can kind of come and go. But the Bulls aren't exactly stocked with perimeter stoppers either. And here's the thing. Look, when you're kind of in this weird rebuild phase, that's okay. You're not plugging him into a must-win playoff series. You're giving him time to improve. Also, the Bulls could still address defense elsewhere, whether it be free agents through the G League or even later on in the draft. The point is, you don't want to pass on a player of Kasparas's offensive upside because of early defensive struggles in what's going to ultimately be a non-contending year. And that's kind of what the Bulls are going to be playing in, what they've been doing the last few years, and they're going to be playing in at least next year as well. So let's put it all together. The Bulls, they need a smart, high upside player who can grow with their young core. And Kasparas Jakucionis gives you a creative playmaker with the upside of a long-term starter. You already have Ayo Dosunmu, his success story, proving Illinois guards can thrive in Chicago. And the development runway is wide open. There's not real playoff pressure. And culturally, the Illinois to Bulls connection resonates with the fan base. Keep in mind, Kobe White is going to be a free agent after next year. Ayo Dosunmu, as much as I've talked about him, We don't know where his future lies ultimately, and whether he's a guy that the Bulls eventually look to move on from. Should you decide to move on from Kobe or Ayo, you have the perfect replacement there in Kasparas. Let me know your thoughts, especially those of you who are Bulls fans. You saw freshman year Kasparas Jakucionis. So you saw the high highs and you saw the low lows. What are your thoughts? My ultimate thinking is, look, if the Bulls had a top 5 pick, a top 6 pick, or even a top 7 pick, I'm not sure how comfortable I would be taking Kasparas. But at pick number 12, I think you can actually do a lot worse than taking a guy like Kasparas. You know Kasparas is going to work his butt off. Look, it's not a sexy pick. It's not a flashy ESPN highlight grabber. Having Kasparas drafted by Chicago would be great for Illinois. Regardless of how you feel towards Bulls ownership, they are and pretty much forever will be one of the premier franchises in the NBA. So when the Bulls are on the clock at number 12, don't be shocked if KJ's name is right there in the mix. And if it happens, you can't tell me that wouldn't be fun. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways to play smart and win big. Hey, look, if you're watching every game and you feel like you've got a pretty good read on what's going on, why not back it up with the same game parlay? New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And welcome back to Locked On Illini. I did want to say we've been discussing whether KJ is a good fit with the Chicago Bulls in the Talk Illini Discord. So if you're looking to banter with other Illini fans, we're over 300 now across the country. Make sure you join the link. The link should be in the description, so feel free to join us when we discuss KJ. We're going to discuss Will Riley, and we discuss all topics of life in general. Speaking of all topics, this segment is for you, Rick Fuston, who a couple days ago left a comment on one of my videos asking about covering golf. And that's exactly what I'm going to do because despite me not being the biggest golf fan, something happened on Monday that even I can't ignore. The Illinois men's golf team is leading the NCAA Urbana Regional, and it's all thanks to a historical performance from Jackson Buchanan. I'm talking course record territory, a true statement, and a reminder that Mike Small's program continues to be one of the best kept secrets in all of college sports. So on Monday, Buchanan shot an 8 under 63 at Atkins Golf Club. That's not just a great round, that's a course record. 9 birdies, 0 bogeys, just calm, just confidence, and clinical. And the best part, he didn't even know the team was leading when he walked off the 18th green. Buchanan isn't a leaderboard watcher. He focuses on his own game. And on Monday, that focus paid off. He said it himself. He knew that if he sank his final birdie putt, he'd claim the course record. 1 stroke, 1 confident roll, and it dropped to a roar from the home crowd. And you can see it on his face. Here's why this wasn't just another low round. Buchanan's had an up and down spring. Some top 10 finishes, sure, but also some disappointing ones in some bigger tournaments. He was tied for 39th at Southern Highlands and tied for 42nd in the Big Ten Championship. Confident? It hasn't exactly been sky high lately, but on Monday, Buchanan talked about bringing a new presence to the course. And, quote, "I think I'm one of the best players here. It's just about being myself." That's the kind of mindset you need in postseason golf. And you can see it in his short game, from a clutch flop shot to a safe par, to a tap-in birdie after perfect pitch and run, to draining long puts with no hesitation. This wasn't a scorecard day. It was a confidence reset day. For Buchanan, this round was the cherry on top of a long semester of grinding. And that could be huge for Illinois moving forward. Let's zoom out a little bit and just look at the team picture. Illinois leads the regional at -7 after day one. Texas Tech is 2 strokes back at -5. UNLV rounds out the top 3 at -3. The top 5 teams advance to nationals, so Illinois is in prime position. And Coach Mike Small said it best. A team needs that out of more guys. You can't play great every day, but if you can ham and egg it and have different guys do it, that's a big deal. Monday was Jackson's day. And that's a formula for a deep postseason run. One of the best stories here is the home crowd energy. Atkins Golf Club isn't just another course for Illinois players, it's home turf. Buchanan mentioned how special it was to play in front of so many Illini fans, saying it's a cooler vibe. It brings the energy. Fans were out there tailgating by the 11th hole, former players, families, alumni, all showing up to support. It wasn't lost on the players. The regional is more than just another tournament. It's a chance to win on home soil, to feed off that orange and blue energy. And you can feel it making a difference. I did want to take a step back real quick and just kind of appreciate everything that Mike Small has built. Year after year, Illinois is in the mix on the national stage. They're hosting regionals, they're sending players to nationals, and they're developing pros. It doesn't get the attention of football or basketball, but make no mistake, Illini Golf is an elite program. Buchanan's round is just the latest example of that. And if this team can finish the job this week, another trip to nationals is on deck. That's consistency. That's culture. That's development. And every now and then, it's worth celebrating. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. And you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Me personally, I'm spending way too much money going out to eat. I got 2 kids. I'm tired. It's easy to go get food from the fast food restaurant. I know I got to keep that in check. And with Monarch Money, instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. And welcome back to Locked On Illini. If you've enjoyed the show so far, make sure you hit that like button. I know it doesn't cost you guys anything, but it really does help the channel grow and helps the whole algorithm, all that fun technical talk. Before I did let you go today, I did want to address a couple news and notes from Illini land. First and foremost, obviously, we talked about the NBA draft lottery being set in the first segment. Well, NBA draft combine is happening this week in Chicago. And right now, some of the measurables were leaked on Monday. And I wanted to talk about, of course, Kasparas, and I wanted to talk about Will Riley. I'm just going to go ahead and read Jonathan Givony's tweet where he addressed both players. We'll start with KJ. The Illini's Kasparas Jakucionis official measurements from the NBA draft combine. He measured in at 6'4" and 3/4 barefoot, 205 pounds with a 6'7" 3/4 wingspan and an 8'4" standing reach. KJ grew at least an inch while adding 5 pounds from a year ago. Impressive measurements for a point guard. Then also he did another tweet for Will Riley. Illinois' Will Riley's official measurements from the NBA draft combine. 6'8" and 1/4 barefoot, 185.6 pounds with a 6'8" and 3/4 wingspan and 8'8" standing reach. Riley grew an inch, added 14 pounds from last year's Nike Hoops Summit. Those of you who do follow me on social media, and if you don't, Why not? You can find me at Locked On Illini on all your favorite social medias. You can find me at Talk Illini on all your favorite social medias. But you can also find me at The Sunny V if you want my own personal takes. But a recurring meme, I constantly say that Fletch is a cheat code. And of course, I'm addressing Adam Fletcher, the Illinois strength and conditioning coach. And you can just see the kind of impact that he has on Illini basketball players seemingly each and every year. I mean, you have guys like, I just read to you Will Riley and Kasparas' measurements. Jace Richardson came in at 6 foot even. And keep in mind, Jace is not a point guard. So he's a kid who's going to have to figure out what he's going to have to change to make it to the next level. Ace Bailey, one of the stars of Rutgers, who Rutgers were listed at 6'10", came in at 6'7.5". You just never know who is being truthful when it comes to these teams and the measurements that they're giving off. So again, at least on Monday, we got nothing but good news between Will Riley and Kasparas, at least when it comes to measurements. They both also said they're not going to be participating in the 5 versus 5, which I don't think is much of a surprise. But as we continue to get updates from the draft combine, of course, this is going to be your spot to be at. So make sure you're subscribed for that reason, if nothing else. But you can also subscribe here to keep in tabs with future Illini recruits. And I did want to mention that over the weekend, Illini commit Mihajlo Petrovic in the ABA playoffs had 17 points, 8 assists, in 4 rebounds. And as I said in an episode last week, the more I watch of Petrovic, the more I like, and the more I think he's the kid that most everybody is kind of sleeping on just because of the situation. He came out of nowhere. His name was not mentioned as a potential Illini prospect. And when he did commit, it was during the Andrei Stojakovic official visit. And so while most fans' attentions were deservedly towards Stojakovic and whether he would commit while he was on campus, I just think that Petrovic didn't quite get the love that he deserves, but he continues to put up numbers. Now, whether he comes in as a freshman or a junior or a senior, that none of us really know. That'll be a topic for a future episode of Locked On Illini. But the playoffs are happening, and so for those of you who are able to keep tabs, Petrovic is certainly one to. It's nice to see that he's able to put up these sort of numbers, right? 17, 8, and 4 in high profile, high pressure situations like the ABA playoffs. It just gets me excited to see what he can do when he finally does make it down to Champaign. Thank you all so much for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. That's going to wrap it up for today's edition of Locked On Illini. Again, I'll be following along with the draft combine. If you're not a Bulls fan, but you might be a fan of another team, and you've seen Kasparas mock to them or Will Riley mock to them, and you want me to address whether I think they're a good fit with them, please let me know in the comment section. Again, I know this is my show, but I try to repeat myself. This is just as much your guys' show. You can email me at talkillini@gmail.com. We've got a couple get-togethers happening in the month of June. We're going to get together for the NBA draft lottery. We're going to actually watch the NBA draft the first day, so maybe we'll all get a chance to see at least Kasparas drafted, maybe even Will Riley if he has a really good week in Chicago this particular weekend. Also, June 20th, a bunch of us will be attending the Chicago Cubs game for another official Locked On Illini get-together. So I know we have a lot of Illini fans who also happen to be Cubs fans. And so I'm going to be spending my summer in Chicago, and it's going to be a good way for me to meet a lot of the community, which continues to grow, thankfully, due to your guys' support. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.